won't be treated like that anymore. I won't go somewhere for healing and have them rip me apart.
Welcome back to Fishing Without Bait, a lifetime without definitive expectations, where we're continuing our conversation with Merlin and Eamon. Most people make their choices based on beliefs, not facts.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So how can we help people move from beliefs to facts?
I think just kind of living a life in terms of asking yourself constantly, like, what if I'm wrong? Like, I can only speak generally for myself. There have been moments in my life where I felt like I knew everything. And honestly, there's nothing worse than when you are in that state and then something happens that challenges that, and it feels like you are questioning everything in the world, right?
Yeah.
And it makes you, I think that there's such a drop that happens when it comes to that. I think if you live a life where you are constantly curious and constantly like, well, what if I'm wrong? What if, what I think in this moment is not the full scale of my knowledge of what I will have, a day from now or an hour from now. Like, I think I would just encourage people, like, it's a more interesting life. It's a more self-fulfilling life. It challenges you. And I think, I don't know, I've learned a lot through, like, also handling my own anxiety in certain moments where it's like, not knowing everything is honestly fine. Like, it's there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with developing knowledge. And so I think that's where, and again, that's the difference between beliefs and facts. It's very hard when you have a stringent belief to delineate, but when you let facts play out, when you just live life and, what happens in certain respects, like, and to not be scared of that, I think is when we grow then more as like a fact-based, belief system.
I want to make it clear to all our viewers that this is not an us against them podcast.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Okay?
Absolutely not.
I know you're not coming across like that at all, but some people may view that as this country has never been as divided ideologically as it is today.
Yeah.
No.
Ever.
And
we all play in the same team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, look, America has a very bloody past and a very nasty past built on bigotry and horrendous things that we have done in the name of that bigotry. But we also have this idea that we're a cultural melting pot and that we are made who we are by blending culture together. Like, people that came from Europe, people who came from, like the indigenous people here, people that came from Africa through the chattel slave trade, people who have come from East Asia, all these different regions of the world can come together in America and build something that they can't really anywhere else, because nowhere else does culture blend like it does here. Like, we have the most diverse population of any nation. I'm talking out of my ass there. That might not be true, but I'm pretty sure it's true. And the fact that we are so against each other based on those differences, when we could be celebrating the things that we have in common and taking those differences and building from them.
Well, that's the thing too. It's not ignoring the differences, right?
Right. It's celebrating
finding the commonality, but also not ignoring the differences. And I think there's been
learning from the differences,
yes,
right?
100%.
Like, because there are things that they got right that we got wrong.
Right.
And things that we got right that they got wrong. And we can trade information and grow together.
Yeah. And I can only speak from personal experience, but like, I feel like there's this lie that I hear sometimes when people talk about, the fact, which is a fact that we are more divided now, that prior to that, when we were less divided, we were having less conversations that were divisive. And I actually disagree with that, at least in my personal experience. I think the times in which we have felt more commonality is when we've had more conversations. I feel like, and typically I find there's a juxtaposition in a lot of people today who will promote the idea of that, but then will stifle conversation in a very subtle way. I think,
or not so subtle, as
or
the
not,
case may be,
or not so subtle. I don't know. I always had, conversations where we let our guard down and sort of like spoke to either biases or perceptions, and it built into something where you had a better understanding of each other. I think that was very much the case for me growing up, and I feel like there is a misnomer sometimes that we have to, not, again, like you said, celebrate the differences and sort of like communicate through those differences. Like, I think that's, natural in many regards.
Well, that's how you build community.
Yeah, 100%.
You have to know the other people that you're leaning on and trust that they will catch you when you fall. And the way that you do that is by speaking to each other and learning about each other. And that's how you build trust. It's like, I'm not going to trust a stranger. I need to know this person. I need to know this person, and I need to know something about their community. If they are a stranger, I can go, okay, I know these things. Like, I know that if I am in danger and I am in a public place and there's a bunch of people running around, find a black woman or find a drag queen, because those are the people who are going to make sure I'm taken care of. Like, those are the people who are larger than life and who are used to standing up to assholes. And, like, I know those things because what they've been through, like, drag queens are so villainized. Black women are the most villainized people on the planet. Like, they have been through so much as a community, so they know how to deal with that adversity. If you want to learn from anybody, learn from black women, learn from drag queens and trans women. Like, that is where your real intelligence of building community comes from, because they've been doing it for hundreds of years.
I think one of the most disrespectful things a person can say to another is, I know how you feel.
Right.
Because no one can know how you feel. It disgusts me when a person says that, which really upset me when people tried to usurp the Black Lives Matters voices.
Yeah.
No, we'll speak for you. No, you can't.
Yeah.
Well, and that's why we have the black community really backing away now, because they're tired. They have been used and abused by people, even on the left, who mean well, but who take over these things and decide that, we as white people know the best. No, we don't. We've never done this successfully. Black women have.
Most people do not listen to learn. They listen to respond.
Yeah.
They do not listen to learn. So ignorance is one of the most misunderstood words. It doesn't mean a person is stupid.
No,
it just means they don't have the knowledge. Socrates once went to the temple at Delphi, where you get the whatever type of message you get, and he came back and they says, "What did you find out?" And they said that I was the smartest man in the world. I was the wisest man in the world. And they says, "What does that mean to you?" And he said, "I'm the only one in the world who truly understands his own ignorance."
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, before you are willing to learn, you have to know that you don't know. Like, and that's okay. We villainize not knowing so much. So in this society, if you don't know, you're stupid. Well, then no, you're just ignorant. And that's okay, as long as you are not living in that ignorance.
You can't fill a full cup.
Right. And nobody knows everything. Nobody knows everything. There's always more to learn. And if you are no longer learning, you're dying. That is death. To me, that is the definition of death.
That's a Stoic philosophy quote. When you stop learning, you start dying.
Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you're willing to learn and grow,
that's
you can live
having
a long
that beginner's
time.
mind. Quite often, what we talk about is this expert's mind. Now, you often refer to a thoroughbred horse race. Magnificent animals. Do one thing, do it well. But what do they have over their eyes?
Blinders.
Correct. And so they only see in one direction. I consider that an expert's mind. Have you ever been around a 3 or a 4-year-old child and they look at everything with absolute wonder?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was me when I was uneducated, or not uneducated, unmedicated on with ADHD. Like I'm medicated now. I can still get distracted, but like I can also focus on things a lot easier now, and can put those blinders on when I need them. But for the most part, the world is still fascinating. And I just don't understand
Always
how people
remain curious.
Yeah.
Always.
Yes, I don't understand how people, like, I grew up with shows like Sesame Street and Reading Rainbow on PBS. You know, like those shows encourage children to open their eyes and see the world around them. And when they can't see it in person, open a book.
Yeah. And we always commend children for being inquisitive. Like we promote that idea of like
Not
how
everybody.
well, yeah. But I mean, like the sort of like general idea of a child is inquisitive, why does that ever have to stop?
Yeah.
Why what changes in a person when you've developed to a certain age?
The
to where
education system.
Yeah, sure.
Well, but the
100%.
education system really doesn't teach us to learn. It teaches us to conform.
They teach us to repeat and conform.
Yep.
They
100%.
do not teach critical thinking
Yeah,
skills.
they are not creating people who learn and who engage in the world around them. They are creating people to sit in cubicles and do dead end work for the rest of their lives.
Well, we're taught that saying "I don't know" is a terrible thing.
Yeah.
Like in class, you couldn't say to the teacher, "I don't know." You'd be ridiculed.
Yeah.
But saying "I don't know" is an actual true statement. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's fine. That's how you learn.
Yes.
It's like with, I know in recovery, one of the things that they talk about is the first step to recovery is admitting that there's a problem. The first step to learning is admitting you don't know. You can't learn something if you don't acknowledge that you didn't already know it.
If I went to a professional, if I went to a doctor and I said, "What's going on with me?" I'd rather him say or her say, "I don't know,
Yeah.
but we're going to find out."
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because it means that they're actually engaging in something. I know, as someone who has a lot of different acronym disabilities under my name, it takes a while and a lot of self-advocacy to get doctors to listen to you. Because some of them believe that going through medical school means they know it all. And they don't. It's the practice for a reason. You know, they're practicing medicine. They're not experts in medicine, because medicine is constantly evolving and each human is different. There may be some patterns and some echoes from people to people, but every case is unique. Every human is unique. You have to go into that exam room and know that the patient in front of you may be like somebody else, but they are not somebody else. What they're going through is unique to them. And you need to listen to their experiences, because no one's an expert in what they're going through but them.
Well, some people have already made up their minds. Everyone, there's a core human rights. Everyone has the right to be understood. Everyone has the right to be heard. Everyone has the right to be respected, to be treated as an equal, to be given the benefit of the doubt and the freedom to decide. And here's what I tell people. If you're with individuals who aren't giving you those, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Plant flowers and pull weeds.
Yeah. Like, what's the point? I mean, why would you want to look at a desolate landscape around you?
Stop trying to grow daisies in a sandbox.
That's not what that's for. That's for something else. Don't go there.
In the 12-step world, again, I talk a lot of 12-step talk, but there's a chapter called Working with Others. And one of the specific things it says, stop knocking on a door that won't open. You're denying the opportunity to be helpful to someone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. If the door's not opening, it's not for you. Go find a window. Go find another door. Hell, knock down a wall if you need to.
There's always someone you can help.
We're in the country of like, or not just a country, we're in a world of like, billions of people. It's like, you will find someone who will,
We live in an individualistic society
Yeah.
that says the self-will can conquer any problem. That is not true.
No.
We need each other.
Yeah.
Spirituality is a personal connection with something. And I thought, how could we possibly contribute more to people's lives like we're doing on the show, And as a result, I've made the choice to become an ordained minister. And as so, I am legally authorized to perform marriages in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. Why choose our services over an established mansion of wood and stone? What we do is we offer a non-religious, spiritual-based, mindfulness-based type of bonding of two souls. We are based in the Pittsburgh area, however, am willing to travel and am open to any type of suggestions that would suit you and yours. Our goal is to make this day as easy as possible for both of you and have no worries. Let us handle the ceremony. Please contact the show for our rates and whatever we can possibly do to make that moment in time special for you and to create memories.
It comes down to misogyny and how we decided that women had to be devalued in order to lift up men. And that's the reason I bring that up, is because women have always been the cornerstone of community. And there's a reason that they were devalued, is because they were the ones that were able to bring people together. They were the ones who were like building community and building connections and making each other stronger, because they were afraid of the power we had together.
I've often thought that a lot of marriage ceremonies should include a branding ceremony.
Jeez. Glad we didn't do
Yeah,
that. Although we have considered tattoos.
Where the male puts a brand on the female saying, "You're mine."
I don't think that's necessary.
Yeah, Merlin definitely again wants the couple tattoo, but it's definitely a little more
No.
more loving.
Young ladies begin to lose their self-concept and self-esteem around the age of 9. I didn't make that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and
That's when a comparison game begins.
well, and sometimes earlier, you know, those of us who have been through abuse at a young age, you start to do that a lot sooner, you know, and you start to devalue yourself because other people are happy and you're not. And you don't understand that the reason you're unhappy is because of trauma. And like a kid can't conceive of that.
Yeah.
They don't have the words to put to that.
Correct.
They just know this sucks. That's about as much as they know, you know, and they think that everybody's going through that, because why wouldn't they think
Yes.
everybody goes through
Of
that?
course.
Because they're told that it's normal, and they're told, don't talk about it to anyone. No one else will
Keep the
understand.
secret.
You know, keep the secret. And it's like that, again, it's silencing people to take away their power. That is at the root of systems of oppression, is keeping people apart because they don't have the
Yes.
strength and power
Yes.
in as an individual. They have to separate us so that we don't have that strength.
There's a lot of studies that show young boys at the age of 3 or 4 are often more emotional than women, the girls at the same
Yep.
age. However, at some point, they join the men's club. Like, that's what I consider. And they get into this thing that the only acceptable emotion that a man can share with others is anger.
It's anger. Yeah. And it's a poison. Living with only that is poison. Like, and because the boys who catch on, right, they are then turned around and used to enforce it on other boys
Right.
by calling them, you know, sissies, by calling them faggots. You know, that was one thrown at me a lot, even before I knew what the hell that was, right? Like, we are villainized. Like, people are meant to have both masculinity and femininity inside of them, but the femininity is beaten out of little boys
Absolutely.
at such a young age that we lose half of ourselves.
Yeah. I mean, like for me, like that was, you know, and because I was always the shortest. I was always the, you know, not the most manly. I was not the most athletic. I was not all the tenets of what you would expect. And the way my brain worked was, even before I came out, like I had thought that I was just programmed in a way where it's like I didn't like I thought I was asexual at a certain point, honestly. And I think now I'm like, wow, like, you know, there is an and there are people who are genuinely asexual, but there was a thing I was telling myself because of these perceptions that you're talking about, where I thought to myself I couldn't experience love or something deeper because that's just how I was.
Yeah.
And it's a lie. It's a lie that we
Yeah.
tell ourselves, and it's a lie that gets put on us through society and different messaging. And yeah, it's very sad in many words.
I mean, I knew from a very young age that I was gay. I didn't know what gay was, but like I went through sexual abuse from the age of 6 to the age of 12, and I knew that, even though, like, knowing now, right, like, I know that it was not my fault, and I knew that, or I know now that there was that what was done to me was not okay. But at the time, I didn't know there was anything wrong with what was happening. At the time, I was just enjoying sex because that's what sex is, right? It should be enjoyable. And I didn't know that that's what it was, but I knew that it made me feel good. And so I kind of welcomed it. And then when I had words for it, it was like, oh, that shouldn't have been happening to me.
Mm.
And there's like this delayed response to the trauma because you don't really know what you went through until you have context for it later. And so the whole time growing up in this evangelical society, right, I'm knowing that I'm different and knowing exactly what's different about me, but knowing that that's evil, and so I deserve to go to hell. As a 6-year-old.
You deserve to go to hell.
Yeah.
Did you believe that?
I did. And I still get into those holes today because it was so deeply ingrained in me that even through years of deconstruction of that, it's still in there.
Actually, Jesus would laugh at a thought like that.
Oh, I know he would.
He'd laugh out loud.
I know he would, because it has nothing to do with anything that he taught. Like, I went through in college, I sat down with myself and was like, okay, I need to figure out what the truth is here. And so I did. I was going to a Christian college at the time, and I did a deep biblical study on, like, the clobber passages, which are the passages that people traditionally use to go against homosexuality. I went and dissected all of those things. I looked into the relationship of King David and Jonathan, and I went and, like, learned all of these things, right, and dug into everything. And what I found was that most of what I was taught, in fact, I'd say 98% of what I was taught, was absolute bullshit. And the 2% that was real was twisted. And there was a veil ripped out from in front of my eyes. And I was like, you know what? There is truth here. There is goodness here. But I can't be anywhere near this anymore. I can't call myself a Christian anymore. I can still have a relationship with God. I can still nurture that spiritual connection, but I can't be part of this religion because there is so much hate, and there are, thousands of years of lies told to oppress people and hurt people and rip them to shreds. And I won't be treated like that anymore. I won't go somewhere for healing and have them rip me apart. It can no longer be part of who I am. And, I deconstructed all of that through years. I learned to look into other world religions, ended up becoming pagan, and still, believe in God and Jesus and all of that. But I feel like most of what's written in between is metaphor or lies. There's goodness in the world. There's goodness in the universe. There is energy out there that a lot of people call God. Some people, will call, a lot of millions of people call it Allah. Like there are people from, ancient Celtic realms who split that up into different gods, Roman deities, Greek deities. It's the same energy. It's the same existence of the divine.
Well
and
said,
it's the
Merlin.
same energy that birthed humanity and will be here long after humanity is extinct.
Well said. Well said. We're coming back next week to continue our conversation with Merlin and Eamon. And I know you're waiting for this, a free prescription. Fruits, nuts, and vegetables. Unplug your television and take up fishing. And for a truly mindful experience, we strongly suggest you fish without bait. Do a kindness for yourself and do a kindness for another. Forgive yourself and forgive another. If we're all not God's children, and none of us are, till all are free, none are free. Namaste, my friends.
Please check out our website at fishingwithoutbait.com, where you can listen to the show, comment on our discussions, and find out where you can subscribe to our podcast. If you're interested in flying the colors of Fishing Without Bait, click the shop icon on our website. We have clothing, mugs, cell phone cases, and so much more. Show the world that you fish without bait. This show is a member of the Sorgatron Media Podcast Network. Find out more at sorgatronmedia.com.